Gary's super tough. Williams should have a long career in the NBA with how his shot's been going. How do you see, because it was this weird thing where Hoiberg to A&M was a talk and stuff like that. Like, what, with Nebraska, and some people I feel like were for Hoiberg being swapped out or whatever, but I feel like if Nebraska restarts again, like, I feel like we can't do that. It's like, you got to continue to try to build off of what you got. And it seems like they've got good momentum to build off of now. So, I think this might have changed some people's opinion on Hoiberg, hopefully. But where do you see Nebraska football or Nebraska basketball like in the next, couple of years?
Whoever they bring in through the portal is going to be huge. They've got some decent role players, but you need a dude. I mean, Nebraska hasn't got a guy through the portal that's going to supplant the production you're going to miss from Juwan and from Bryce. That's my biggest concern. I personally, I look at the trajectory of Nebraska, and I was out on Fred after a multitude of issues on the road games, like multiple blowouts by 20 plus points. But being able to, after not winning a game for 46 days, hadn't played in 3 weeks, go out and win the crown, play as well as they did, has me feeling pretty good.
Yep.
And part of that too, like, you have Rank Mass coming back. You finally have a true post. I don't like Braxton Mia was a post player, but he was not Rank Mass, and Bear K is not Rank Mass. So you're getting him back. The problem for them is they're going to need to find shooters, and they've kind of addressed that a little bit through the portal, but they still have like 6 spots open on their roster. I think next year is a big year for Fred. If he doesn't win like 18, 19 games next year, it's going to be hard for me to be convinced that he's the right man for the job. And that's just because he's been here for 6 years. He's got an 83 and 108 record in 6 years.
Yeah.
But the last 2 years, Nebraska's won more games than they've ever had in a 2-year span. So that's why there's kind of like this positive trajectory. It seems like he's altered his system a little bit to the Big Ten.
Yeah, it's just they got to do it for a full season, man.
Yeah.
It's just there's too many ebbs and flows. There's not I don't know if it's a depth issue, which it seems to potentially be. The Big Ten last year, it was couldn't win on the road. Like, there's always something that just seems to kind of hold this team back a little bit from taking that next step. And it's just, that's the hard part about potentially restarting, is it seems like we're so close right there, knocking on that door. It would suck to kind of have to restart back over. But it's a matter of it's got to happen soon. Kind of like you said, it's like it's now or never. And let's go through some of the some of the potential. Let's go to the portal ads and look into some of those guys. So you had a pretty interesting stat about Bryce Sanford. Small
I'm going to
forward.
read that back into the.
Yeah, go ahead and pull that up. But averaged 22.8 minutes a game last season as a sophomore, 49% from the field. So. As y'all can see there, had a box plus minus of 4.3 and an offensive efficiency rating of 126.8 per 100 possession, which is crazy high. Would have ranked number 2 in the box plus minus, and offensive rating number 1 on Nebraska's 25 roster. As it says, part of it system related, but consider Price only averaged 22 minutes per game. So, shot 49% from the field, 40% from 3, takes care of the ball. Doesn't turn it over a lot, less than half a turnover a game for the first 2 seasons. So, more of a wing, kind of like you put in there, more of a wing than a small forward. Doesn't play inside much, but it's just going to help kind of expand and spread that floor out a little bit. So, Bryce Sanford, interesting there, but just shows kind of his ability and what he potentially could be.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't following this account on X and you want the best Nebraska basketball analysis, someone who truly understands the game, you need to be following Pavelka's fat uncle Park_Nebraska or NEB on X, because that dude is so smart. He has so much insight, way more. He probably has forgotten more than I'll ever know. So you should be following him if you care about that type of extra analysis, that stuff you don't normally hear about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we're gonna reach out to him and try to get him on the show too, to talk a little basketball. Since y'all seem to like the basketball stuff a little bit, even though season's ended, but maybe getting some off-season stuff, talk about the transfer portal and little things like that. So now let's go ahead and talk about a few more players. Now, pronunciation here. Do you know how to
may God have mercy on your soul.
Igneus Jerzavicius. I'm just going to say
Yeah.
Juravich. I'm just going to say Juravicious.
Yeah, that works.
For Central Michigan, 6'10", 220. That is a rough name to try to pronounce. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and talk about him a little bit?
So this is a guy, like, nobody knew who he was in terms of like the portal. I don't think many programs knew he was even in the portal, if we're being honest. This commitment came out of complete left field. I think even Robin Washa, who's like the best, news reporter for Nebraska basketball, posted like his quote was like, "From out of nowhere, Nebraska lands this whatever guy." And I was like, who the heck is this dude? I've watched a little bit of his film. Now at 6'10", 220 pounds, I worry about his size in the Big Ten. 220 is a little light. He's not overly athletic, but he's rather athletic. He's like more athletic than Braxton Mia. Braxton Mia is kind of just like a big lumberjack. This is a guy that he plays back to the basket. He's shooting within 10, 12 feet. He's not going to shoot the three very often. Never visited Nebraska, only visited via Zoom, which to me, I don't know how you could commit to some school you've never been to, but it's his final year. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
He's from Lithuania. 1 year of eligibility. He's going to probably play the 4 primarily, with Rank masked at the 5. I could see a situation where if like Rank has been in for say 10 minutes straight, they'll pull him out and they'll pull in. I don't even know how to. I can't even. I'm going to call him Ungnius.
Yeah,
that's when I guess they would bring him in and he would play the 5 for a little bit. And then that's probably, you're going to pair that up with Berke as well. So you'll have Berke, this dude, and Rank kind of all in that 5 and 4 positions, just kind of depending on the scheme. We've seen it too, like this year. Braxton Mia would play a lot some games, and then some games he wouldn't play just because of their opponent. Started his career at Cal State Bakersfield. He is a 54% shooter from the floor. He averaged 16.2 points per game throughout his career. 7 or so rebounds per game, 71% free throw shooter, which is really good for a big man. He's a first team All MAC. 50% shooter from the field for his entire career, which is really, really good. True post players, my notes. True post, back to the basket, good enough athleticism, can make some shots through contact.
Yeah, 170 free throws too, team high. So good at getting to the line as well. So
yeah.
And at 71%, not terrible at all, especially for a bigger guy who they tend to struggle at the line a little bit, which never made sense to me. They're closer to the basket, but they're like eye level with it. But now let's go and talk about the big news of the morning: Jamarcus Lawrence returning.
Yeah,
that is a big one. That is a big one for Nebraska.
Yeah, this is big for Nebraska because he requires very minimal coaching in terms of teaching him the system and teaching him the standard and the expectations, because he was here for 2 years. The reason why he originally left was because he's an off the ball guard. He's a shooting guard. He's a 2 or a small 3. In Nebraska, his final year, his first stint, Nebraska was thrusting him into this point guard role because they had nobody to run the point. And that is not his specialty at all. He started all 31 games at Rhode Island. He was voted team captain his only year at Rhode Island. He was 10 points per game, about 2.5 assists per game. He shot about 40% from 3, 42% from the field. Really good shooter from 3. And then the one concern, and this is why he didn't want to play point guard, is because he turns the ball over. That's my one concern. His assist to turnover ratio is not very good. He's averaged his entire career 2 assists and 2 turnovers per game.
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those guys. He reminds me. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on who I'm thinking of. Dang it, I can't remember off the top. Like an Eric Piatkowski type, where he could just light it up from 3.
Eric, oh man, he was good.
Yeah, he was. Eric Piatkowski. That's a throwback right there.
Probably a top all-time player at Nebraska.
Yeah, absolutely. Ty Lue's up there. Who's number 1?
Bryce Williams now too.
Yeah, who's number 1?
All time?
Yeah. Ty Lue?
I'm going to throw, probably Tyronn Lue, but I'd say my favorite Husker of all time is Alex Marriage.
Okay, I can see that.
I don't feel like he ever got the appreciation that he deserved.
Yeah, a
dominant big man.
I could definitely see that. Yeah, for sure. Interesting conversation, because it's kind of crazy that there's no I guess clear cut number 1. It's just it seems like the top is shows how little talent Nebraska's had, but we've had a lot of talent at the same time, but it just seems like none of them kind of come to fruition. And that's the biggest thing about the portal, so is getting the most out of these guys that do come in. So now moving over to Kendall Blue. A little bit about him if you want to break him down, and Ezra Elsa. Will Cooper as well.
Yeah, so we can start with Will Cooper. He's a true freshman at Air Force this past year. He didn't redshirt. He's from Omaha. He's a 6'6" wing. I don't have a lot of feel for it right now. He's probably going to be a Husker because he's from here. Yeah. He played 50 points per game at Air Force. His numbers are not great. 5 points per game, 2 rebounds per game. Pretty good shooter from 3 at 38%. 45 from the field's pretty good as well. He's probably more of a depth piece. Probably would spell Price Sanford a little bit here and there. And that's if he comes here. I think he does, though.
Yep. And Kendall Blue, 6'6", 190, shooting guard from St. Thomas, Minnesota. So 12 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists per game, 52% from the floor, and 42% from three, which at 6'6", 42%. That is a tough ass to guard. But 190 definitely needs to put some serious size on. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's like a combo guard. I could see him probably playing the wing too. Like if they had a smaller lineup where you could probably slide, like if you wanted to stretch the floor, you could put like Bearcay at the 5 or Rank at the 5, Samford at the 4, Kendall Blue at the 3, just to really space that floor out a little bit.
Yeah.
This is a legit dude for Nebraska. I think I'd say they're probably running first or running second right now in his recruitment. 12 points per game, like you said. That's not great for, being at like a smaller school like St. Thomas, Minnesota, but Nebraska needs dudes that can shoot. And what do you see when you look at him? You see 52% from the floor and you see 42% from three. If he can get you, 6 to 7 shot attempts per game, you're going to make some money with him.
That's a pretty high clip. That is a pretty high clip for sure. And then Ezra Ausa, if I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce it. It's definitely Ezra.
Ezra.
Ausa would be my guess. He's a big physical power forward.
Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, he's more of like a I described him as like a smaller Braxton Mia. True back to the basket. He's not going to shoot from like outside 10, 12 feet. He's going to get you some hook shots. 12 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. He shoots 52% from the field. I labeled him as like a block type player, like a guy that really you're just going to be back to the basket, find the block, get position, get your hand up, get the ball inside, and then move from there. I think he's probably going to be better than what Braxton Mia ever was at Nebraska, just because he's got consistent production at Utah. Braxton Mia was always a guy like at Washington where he was getting like 8-10 points a game, but he's really just like a physical presence on defense. This guy can do both. And he probably runs the floor a hell of a lot better too.
Absolutely. All right. So that kind of covers the basketball segment there. Spend a little extra time on it, because it's nice to win some tournaments. So